Hey guys, Coach Gaglione here from GaglioneStrength.com. We got Gina Aversa here. She has a 518 Sumo deadlift, so who better to learn the Sumo deadlift from Gina, okay? So a couple of things that we want to focus on is getting in the right start position for a Sumo deadlift. A lot of people try to basically conventional deadlift in a wide stance, and that's a big mistake. So we're going to show the differences between the hip position between a Sumo and a conventional, okay? So she's going to approach the bar. And you can see she's doing a great job at just kind of wedging her feet in position. She's starting to set up, she's getting in the zone, she's visualizing herself. And I just want to kind of freeze right here. So here she's starting to engage her back a little bit, and then she's going to try and break the bar and pull the bar into her. And you can see she's really trying to externally rotate her shoulders, and she's got a lot of tension. She's really opening up her hips, creating a lot of tension in the glutes, and we can relax. So we're going to watch that one more time. She's going to start from the beginning. So again, she's going to approach the bar. She's going to root her feet in position. She's finding a stance that she can control and where she can get her knees out efficiently too. She's starting to gather tension and drop her shoulders as she comes down. Breaking the bar, pulling it into her, and really driving her knees out. Good neutral spine and relax. And as you can see, with this kind of weight, she's creating so much tension that 135 is kind of floating off the ground. With 300, 400, 500 pounds, that's not going to happen, okay? I want you to kind of watch her from the side and kind of see her hip angle and what she's kind of doing with her hips. You basically want to try and get your hips as close to the barbell as possible. That's going to allow you to have a more efficient and a shorter pull. So I want you to kind of set up with your hips too far back first so they can kind of see the difference. So this is what kind of most people do. So her hips are kind of very far away from the bar. Now watch what happens when she brings her hips closer to the bar and kind of wedges herself in position. And you can see how much closer her hip joint is to the bar. She's going to break the bar, engage the lats, and pull from there, and then finish. Good. So let's do another rep, and we're going to pause so we can see the positions. And she's really trying to open up her hips and get her hips close to the bar. Breaking the bar and throwing the hips forward. Nice, short, efficient lockout. Not overextending at the top, okay? Not scooping with the knees, okay? Let's say someone was like transitioning from Sumo to conventional. What are some tips that you'd kind of give someone who's kind of switching stances?
First of all, it's a totally different pull. You can't even think of it as like the same movement as a conventional deadlift. It's basically like its own lift in and of itself. Probably the biggest things that people need to focus on for their Sumo deadlift is tracking your knees always over your toes, and make sure that, you know, regardless of where your actual stance is, certain people are wider, certain people are more narrow. Regardless, your knees should always track over your toes, and you should be trying to keep your hips as close to the bar as possible. And then when you're actually initiating the lift, probably the most important thing for Sumo in order to keep that hip position is basically going to be to push into the ground as hard as possible. And instead of pulling the bar up, you want to pull the bar towards your body. That basically makes it so that you externally rotate your femurs. You're pushing your legs out, and you're engaging your legs and your hamstrings, which are basically going to lock your hips and anchor your hips in that position, so that when you start your pull, your hips aren't going to shoot up, causing it basically to be impossible to lock out at the end.
Great. So a lot of people want to learn how to Sumo deadlift, and I think it's important. You know, Gina's got a great like mobility already. If you don't have the mobility or maybe the strength to keep the position, a good place to start is kind of just elevate the plates with blocks and then kind of work your way down, kind of build that strength in your hips. And I think don't be afraid to like lighten the weight and kind of get the form down first. Sumo is a very, very technical lift. Sometimes with a conventional pull, you can kind of get out of position and still finish it. If your hips rise too early in a Sumo pull, you're basically dead in the water, and it's not going to be pretty. So, and the last thing I would say is be patient off the ground. Sumo is always going to be slow off the ground. Be stubborn, maintain your position. It's going to break at some point, and then once it breaks, you got to start accelerating and just keep that position. Don't let your hips rise. You got to be patient, okay? So Sumo is definitely a more technical lift, so if you're going to learn it, Be patient, take your time, and just progress slowly in that lift, okay? And there's nothing wrong with kind of working on both stances and kind of working different muscle groups as well. So give the sumo deadlift a try, and thank you, Gina, for that beautiful demo, okay? Make sure you guys check out the links below, and if you guys want to see future content, please click subscribe, and thank you guys so much for watching.